We'll get you a library.
You want me to
Email.
grab the public?
So then we'll.
If anyone's there,
Okay.
yeah, we'll do some-
Okay.
If you want to grab that public.
Yeah, just for the, just for the public record, we discussed the ongoing CBA negotiations with the union. And had an educational session with our attorney. And discussed operational matters as they relate to the CBA, with the director. Oh man, okay, so 5, charter revision update. Ashley, would you like to kick that off for us?
Yeah, not a huge update. I spoke with John McDonald and, spoke with John McDonald, and we're putting a meeting together. I sent everyone, possible meeting times. I will include you. That is a note for me. We're looking to revise our charter because we had, currently it states that we, are a board comprised of 7. We'd like to move it to 9, especially because as you're probably well seeing, there's tons of work to do. As one, and then, with 12 people coming out there's obviously some interest in folks joining the work. And so anyway, but in order to do that, we need our assembly member to help us do that, to amend it and change it. So,
Right, because it requires.
the assembly to act. So, so basically, at least from my perspective, going to John and saying, hi, what do we do? Which he's very happy to do for us, but he needs to meet on Zoom. And so so far I've sent the group those times. I think I heard back from pretty much everyone. Alex, are you good and you want to be caught up?
I would be, please don't wait to me to decide a time. If I can make it, I'll join. If not, digest is perfectly fine. Thank you.
And then Kirsten's not even really in admin. He'll see if he can, and then so I'll send it to you, just wait on you, and then we'll settle a time. And we'll basically just have a short Zoom meeting with him, and Shay, who's his chief of staff. And I hopefully will get the details, and then from there we can come report back to the board on what it looks like we need to do, and then make moves from there.
Yeah, drop it. I'm saying no, but my stuff might get canceled, so
Oh, okay,
if
yeah.
so, I would love to join, but as of right now, I can't. So, but I
No
trust
worries.
you guys to do it.
Yeah, and it's hard to get on folks' schedules, in the assembly, so if we can do that and get in there quick, that'll be helpful, so, but I'm confident we can report back
Excellent.
to the body.
Cecilia, you will be getting a library email address.
Yes, I said, I spoke to her about that.
Okay.
And we're trying to sort of pull together a way in which we can be like, we've got a Google Drive, and we're just trying to like pull everything together. And so
Yeah.
you'll be added to all of these things.
Yes.
And as questions arise, just let us know. Seriously, it's a whole thing. So anyway, that's my update.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Yep.
Look forward to that process. Yeah, the work that we have to do, the work that will be necessary to maintain, definitely demands it. And we have good relations with John, so.
He's a good one to work with, and I hope he's watching.
We'll just send it to him. We're saying a bunch of nice things.
Yeah,
so
well, we love it.
Cool. All right, minor business, friends of the Detroit Public Library, appeal request and business. So Tim and I met with the board of the Friends last Monday.
Sure, I believe so. Last Monday or the week prior.
And this is like yesterday? No, it was last Monday.
It was March 31st.
Okay, yes, last Monday.
Um,
They reminded us, that the appeal letter typically goes out, in May. They requested some assistance in that. They were happy to finance it again,
With a brief pause for the benefit of the group, the annual appeal from the library typically goes out in May. So that way it's not too close to the budget vote. And so that way it's happening before our summer reading program so that the library can get support, and drum up interest and use summer reading as a selling point for the annual appeal. So sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. That's important context.
Yeah.
Your notes are more holistic than mine, so I appreciate it. That being said, they want to partner with the board in developing the appeal letter. So I said I would deliver a request to the board. They would like help in crafting the narrative, the story that they want to essentially write the letter for. Their tentative deadline, just look at a calendar. Their tentative deadline was next Friday, the 18th of April. If we could probably flex that,
What was it?
April 18th for the letter to be done?
no, to get them, sorry, excuse me, to get them ideas, to help craft the
Okay.
letter. So if,
Is
Yeah,
there,
I've helped before with them.
is there a way, I know I had it last year and donated, but I didn't keep the letters. Is there a way to see what past letters look like?
I think the library typically keeps a copy of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great to
As
see it.
I'm sure Freda has it.
Well, yeah, yep.
That would
sorry.
be,
Yeah, No, I think I saw it because Fred showed it to me.
Right, yeah.
So I think you're.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
yeah.
he has it.
and then
I
were
may
there
even have
other
it.
requests?
so that was the primary one. So if you could, give me those ideas, ideally by next Friday, if not, we could probably work some flex time with them.
One of the
Want good
things-
relations with the board, that would be greatly appreciated. I will also work with Tim. So I do have another point, and I'll get to it. I'll get the last year's letter distributed. I'm pretty sure I have an email copy of it, somewhere, and if not, I'll, get one from Freda. The other thing, is Freda wants to put a QR code on the physical letter. She doesn't know how to do that. I had a feeling Rhea, you might know how to do
Yeah,
that.
that's no problem.
If I'd be happy to facilitate that conversation, I'll check in with Rhea once, the development process is a little more, along the way in terms of like actually writing the letter. If you'd be willing, to assist in that, that would be great. If not, I'm sure we can figure something else out. That'll probably be towards the end of the month, early May. So,
Just make sure it's a paid for QR code, so. that it
They
doesn't
can't
go to a
expire.
backslide.
I did not even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Like, I have accounts that you can use and we'll just do that and it's easy, but you either want to have a library account that's sustained or I can loan it to you.
I believe Canva can generate QR codes. I believe we have a paid.
Yeah,
Canva account.
you do. So Canva can do that. You're right.
I was going to briefly add that in the discussion about the annual appeal with the Friends, I did reference the New York State Library Trustees Handbook, which provides guidance on the annual appeal. And again, talking about the separation of the board, because it is in our case, a taxing body. And again, just some of the legal nuances that can come up because of that, but there is language in the New York State Library Trustees Handbook. If you want me to locate the page or anything like that, I can steer you towards that.
can do
Yep.
that.
All right.
And
Cecilia will work on getting you a
Yeah,
copy.
I'm
of
getting
the-
it.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
I sent you-
Online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave her the outline, one, but I'm gonna.
It's nice to mark it up. And there's also, this is a plug for the New York State Library Trustees Reading Group. I believe there is a session coming up this Friday. And it's really great. Rebecca Smith Aldrich from the Mid Hudson Library System, Ron Kursop from the Owl Library System, and Brian Hildreth from the Southern Tier Library System, my former boss, will go into depth about issues related to trustees from a library system director perspective. They're all very great, very competent. This is not an advertisement. Well, I'm not getting paid for this, I should say. So, yeah.
Was there anything I was missing from the Friends? Those were the 2 points of order that I had written down. But I think that was generally it.
That essentially covered it. There was the MOU, independently, right? different
Yes.
topic.
Yeah.
you did renew that or?
No,
It's coming up.
the board will see that. I think everyone's seen the drafts. Obviously, we have to ratify that before that goes into place. That'll probably come up in May or June, since that's kind of middling.
Did we let Freda back in?
Freda left.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So
I guess the only other point of business, Tim distributed before this meeting is that the Friends are purchasing new computers for the staff and the public.
I do have my director's report. It wasn't included in the packet and also includes a summary. I wasn't able to complete the March director's report because of all the stuff that was happening at the time. So if you'd like, I can go through my director's report now for the benefit of the group.
I think we're gonna, because we have to get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
another executive session, and I just want to get through, at least 7.
Okay, great. But like Alex said, one of the highlights is that today the Friends agreed to put nearly $23,000 towards the purchase of new staff and public computers. We do not have an IT line in our budget for hardware, so we've been dealing with a lot of refurbished computers and hand-me-downs. So this is an opportunity to start fresh. And then as we go into the next budgeting cycle, think about how we can sort of cascade these purchases over the course. Typically, the lifespan of a PC is about 3 years. So on a 3 to 5 year basis, how we can renew the technology at the library.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Are we gonna have stickers that they were provided by the Friends?
I
should-
would love to do
you should
that.
I
ask.
would like that too.
Yes.
Great idea. Good
That's a
idea,
great
right?
idea, Murray. Thank you.
All right. Moving on. Mission statement adoption. Rhea, you have the floor.
I've been memorizing it.
As I
Oh, I
said,
have.
yeah, I wish I had that fully memorized.
I
So
have,
the admin, I would like to make a motion to approve, a new mission statement that the admin committee worked on, after coming out of our mission statement 101 workshop. And, the full board being present and contributing 90% to the completion of that. So the finalized language that we settled on in the admin committee. So the motion to approve is to connect our community with materials, experiences, and welcoming spaces that spark curiosity, inspire joy, and support lifelong learning. Do I have a second to approve?
do we just want to add in the beginning, say the Troy Public Library exists too?
No.
We don't, we
I
just want to
don't.
say two,
Nope.
okay?
Because you can put that on there if you want to later, but it's the mission and you can write it up however you want.
Okay.
That's my opinion. You guys, if
Okay.
you want to
I
add
just
it,
know
you
that,
can.
yes, that's, because however it goes in the bylaws is how we have to use it.
Which you can say the Troy Public Library's mission statement is
Okay.
:2. I'm gonna go after that, because if you look up Disney World, it's not Disney's mission is to, it's
Okay.
about joy, I think. You like joy.
Yeah.
I think that's yours. Yeah. I'm gonna argue for 2, but
That's fine.
Oh,
I'm not gonna die on that hill.
do we have a, so we have a,
Let's figure it out.
Exactly.
we got a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? I think, my only thing is that's a really nice, that's a very moving mission statement. So
Mhm.
thank you very much for,
Everybody works.
the admin committee for finalizing that. Thank you, Rhea.
Well, thank you, everybody. Everyone contributed. I like how you were like, no, we need joy.
Yes.
Um,
We had forgotten it.
I will request that we print our mission statement on the backs of our little placards,
Mhm.
like UHLS does. And also that we put at the bottom of all of our agendas
Yes.
and on our website.
I will
Permit.
at least put it on the agenda.
Is that something that you would tell the staff about or?
I would.
Okay.
I mean, for me, yeah, for me personally, it's very important. So, it was, a personal anecdote for a moment when I was interviewing at Yale. One of the first questions I was asked is someone was like, what is the mission statement of your library? And they expected you to have it memorized and to understand how your work relates to the mission statement. So, I mean, in high achieving organizations, everybody is so aware of the mission statement and how their work interacts with that. So it's something that I would like to bring here.
It's important.
I do have a question, sorry.
No, don't.
The workshop, the mission statement workshop, was that like open to the community? or
No,
where-
Well,
Who-
It was
who-
public. It was a public
Public,
meeting,
okay.
but
it was, yeah.
Oh, technically, yes,
So
sorry.
UHLS ran a training with us
Okay.
to help us kind of mediate and collaborate and brainstorm on the creation of a mission statement. And they also did a finance 101 that night, so it was good.
Right, but that wasn't a public meeting.
It wasn't,
no.
No,
It
But
was a
the-
board training.
but the admin committee.
oh, the
Where
admin
we-
committee
Yes,
was
where we
open.
created it.
Okay,
Yeah,
It was open to the
deal.
public.
I feel like it came after the community survey, so in a way it was informed by a lot of the language, but I wouldn't say that it was like a formally like. Oh.
Yeah.
Definitely worth revisiting. I would love your perspective.
Now, we're pretty good at developing.
Yeah, do we have a
We,
second?
we do,
Second.
yeah, motion on the floor, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Cool, unanimously, cool. I love it. Excellent. I am going to motion that we move into executive session again to discuss the performance evaluation of the director.
Mhm.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And that's the last thing on the agenda, right?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
full. It's literally the longest meeting.
I think we had one meeting that was longer than this prior to you guys joining. I'm trying to remember the context of it.
Starting to feel like city council.
We're not.
When people are like, do you want?
Like time anyway.
Never,
Don't even say that.
You know, I was gonna say
never.
Been there
So just to bring it in,
11 o'clock at night.
I wanna finish the business out. Compliance discussion, do we wanna have that real quick? We can,
Who seconded? I'm sorry. That
I
could
did.
Come out. Thanks.
wanna have a discussion on improvements, in terms of our compliance. Basically, who's going to take on what responsibilities? I'd be happy to just list them out right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, let's do
That's
that.
just, what are the
I'll type them.
responsibilities? So the website, updating the website for you, you're gonna do that?
Just on the board side stuff specifically.
Can you add the 2025 budget to the website?
Oh.
And,
I mean, I can't do anything right now, but when I have access.
right,
Yes.
right, but in addition to the 2020, because that's not on there, and it should be.
Did you just say you're gonna do it?
I'm gonna, yes, I'm gonna send you the information.
Log
Yes,
in, you're not posting it. Okay, thank you.
The YouTube, the Zoom, I'm gonna set up all the Zoom
Yes.
links for the rest of the year. And then,
And since you're already in there, send me
yes, and I'll,
the meeting.
and the meetings just go right into the Zoom and you pick them up from there. Is that what
They
you're saying?
go
'Cause I-
into the cloud up to like, we have like 2 GB of storage, so
Wait
as
till
long
we
as
email
we're.
before. The business manager's
Well, just
email.
tonight it'll be-
I'm almost
Ah.
positive.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're right, Carolyn, but I don't see that, so.
Okay. So I'll go into Zoom and
Yeah.
grab those and then give them to you, but also put them on YouTube. So I'll
Yeah.
need the YouTube
Okay.
login
Right.
information.
Ashley's gonna assist in compiling the non-financial elements of what we refer to as the board packet, all of that information. Once we have I'm forgetting her name, once we have the new business manager, once Lindsay joins.
How could you forget?
So nice to meet you.
Sorry, I'm very tired.
Forget
Um,
9 o'clock.
Once Lindsay starts, we'll have her coordinate with Ashley to get the full board packet, within a timely fashion, distributed to us and posted. Was there anything else? Am I missing anything?
I think those are the big ones is YouTube, website, social media is like an operations one.
Yeah,
What we
we're
have.
not
been-
really-
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah,
Okay,
okay.
we're not.
Yeah, no, that's fine, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
That sounds pretty good. I think we should probably check in, see how that works. Next month, if there's any issues, happy to facilitate, site meet Lindsay. We should be able to get that situated. I'm gonna send a couple things out to people. Tim, do you have like an abridged director's report? We could talk about the highlights right now.
Short and sweet. I'll start from the back with my outreach. Really, most of my outreach is done on April 7th, which was yesterday. The RPI Architectural School had rescheduled the event from February when the water main burst. We had gone back and forth. The dean wanted to do an event with just the students and the faculty, so we did that. A lot of collaboration opportunities. The dean and I talked a little bit along with some of the faculty. The students were so excited. That was really great to see. I've been meeting with the Mohican Stockbridge Tribal Liaison. The Mohican people, are from this area where we settled in Wisconsin. So we're talking about ways that we can collaborate in the future, potentially have the library being a resource center for the Mohican Stockbridge tribe in the area. So that was really great. I attended a webinar today on the MWBE and SDVOB requirements, which impacts a lot of the construction grants that we're doing right now.
Yes, I do.
So for the rest of the month, I only have 2 outreach events. The Osgood Neighborhood Group is coming to the library tomorrow because our regularly scheduled board meeting falls during the date and time when all the neighborhood groups meet. a lot of the groups have reached out to me, so now I'm trying to have them come to the library, or at least one person. So Osgood reached out, and then Lansingburg also, I'm trying to schedule with them. The superintendent of the Lansingburg School District and I are going to meet on April 23rd. And again, talk about how the library and the schools can work more closely together. As far as incidents, I know in my first month, there were about 20 incidents. So over the course of the last 3 months, there were only 13, slight improvement. 2 of them
Here, here.
were related to workplace violence. So that's something that we're documenting separately. One of them is I received a phone call from a community member that was just a bunch of slurs about one of our staff members related to, their gender identity and things like that. So it was a really terrible phone call. The staff vacancies, administrative assistant, we're hiring 5 library assistants. The community engagement specialist, I had called one of our applicants, earlier today, hope to talk to them tomorrow. And we are actively reviewing applications for the librarian 1. And then in the beginning of my report, I talked about the staffing at the library, the unexpected closures, 15 unplanned closures in 3 months. And department managers working, almost 362 hours over the course of 3 months in order to keep the library open. One of the big things is that every Saturday, we don't have enough coverage for 1 hour. And it's been like that for years, as Carolyn can attest to. We have never had the ability to fully staff the children's room on Saturdays.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy,
Should be the busiest day.
Yeah, and it's crazy that we have 3 people providing children and family services to a city of 51,000 people. It's crazy that we don't have the ability to fully staff a children's room on what is typically the busiest day, right? So there are these type of structural things, like I've said. And basically the beginning is just all, there have been a lot of unanticipated things that have come up with the HVAC project. I've spoken to our clerk of the works. He was on vacation in Italy for 2 weeks celebrating his 70th birthday. So that's, he is coming back, I believe, tomorrow. So he and I are going to talk again about like what went wrong. The point of that position was to insulate me and prevent me from dealing with contractors, and I've been dealing with contractors every single day, basically. So,
Please keep us in the loop on how that conversation goes.
exactly, yes. So that's the short version. Is a lot of my time is spent on the HVAC construction project, related facilities work. And then again, trying to figure out how to staff the building so that way we can keep it open. But if everything goes according to plan, we'll be hiring, like I said, between 5 and 8 people during the month of April, which this library will look like a different place with 5 to 8 additional.
Yes, it will. Thank
So
you.
that's all I have. And again, just appreciate the patience while I'm trying to iron out everything.
We haven't.
Appreciate you.
Yes,
Seriously,
yes, we did.
incredible.
Okay, at the risk of really going for a marathon, do we have any old and new business?
Yes,
Okay, let's hear it.
at the building committee, we talked about applying for a preservation league grant.
Do we qualify? I know there was some issue.
Well, it turns out that we don't qualify because apparently the funding source doesn't consider us a cultural institution.
Interesting.
So I just wanted to.
Wait, say
Sorry.
that again?
Nothing cultural, love the books.
Program.
The particular grant that I talked about is funded by the NISCA or. And they don't consider libraries cultural
Okay,
institutions.
that's what you said. I'm sorry. Okay.
So,
Wild.
so we don't qualify. So I
Academically
just-
disagree with that, but
Okay.
yeah.
As an addendum, Marie, I know when the DAR was meeting here, they had also talked about maybe working with the library for some type of preservation grant money.
What's
the
DAR?
The Daughters of the American Revolution. And we typically would have them meet here. So that could be another opportunity for grant if the board is looking to. Whatever it's
Oh,
worth.
that they would provide the grant?
Perhaps, I'm not sure. It wasn't, it was just, I was leading one of the board members up to the room. They're like, wouldn't this be a great thing for this preservation grant? And then they went to their meeting and I never spoke to anyone and didn't have the chance to follow up. So for whatever that's worth to this group,
How do we look into it? Okay.
Heidi.
I would
Heidi
reach out to
Klanowski,
the
was she-
DAR.
No, it's
Yeah,
just,
Heidi Klanowski speak to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Marie.
so it's an issue because the library construction grants don't fund studies
Yes.
as the grants that we would have been interested in do fund, but so I guess maybe that'll get resolved or people are looking to resolve that. But I just wanted to let you know that we aren't proceeding with that.
Thank you for exploring the option. All right, do we have any other old, new, the present business? All right, community feedback. I think we can skip that one.
No.
No, I'm joking.
Somebody had expressed a dismay that we don't have the opportunity to use volunteers here at the library, and I tried to explain that we weren't
Sure.
together enough at the moment. So,
Yeah, I think the unfortunate but immediate answer to that is that we just lack the appropriate coverage to ensure our liability.
I will also add, one in addition, to Alex's point that we don't have volunteer insurance. The other part of it is people often want to volunteer to do story time. So that's something that falls under, again,
And this-
job duties of staff.
oh, really?
Job
Yeah.
descriptions.
Yeah. And there was a conversation with the Friends of the Library group, where they wanted to do a story time as the Friends on behalf of the library. And because we're in the collective bargaining process, we can't have volunteers doing the work. And generally, that's that programmatic function. So even if we weren't in that bargaining, we can't have volunteers doing the work of trained, library professionals. There's a lot that goes into a story time as far as early literacy development, Carolyn, that. So that's often a talking point that I have to go back to with folks.
And I think Carolyn did mention that.
I did when we were,
As-
yeah,
as
the
well.
woman caught us out in front. And she was basically trying to say, can't you use volunteers to keep the library open more? And I said, no, because,
Yeah.
that's a job. That's somebody's job.
Yes. And, yeah, with, in consideration of the union, that would be
Well, even without
very, very bad.
an association
Often.
library, maybe you'd get away with it, but not.
And then I heard from someone who was trying to get in the door that opens hard when it was locked because the library was closed. He was here from out of town and he wanted to use the Troy room. And he used the Troy room the day before. Although he was disappointed, he raved about the staff and how helpful they were and that we allowed him in here into this room to use the materials. So he will, I guess it's a consideration that our closing does affect people who come from out of town to do research.
Mhm.
So that's it.
That's hard.
I had the comment from a community member when I was working in Lansingburg the other day. And the daughter was from out of town and was doing genealogy research with her mother, but we had to, close Maine because of the unexpected construction work. So as another example of people coming from out of town to, utilize the Troy room.
My only piece of community feedback is that since March 11th, I've talked to over 24 people who've expressed a significant amount of concern with the series of closures of the library. I've explained the general situation and case situations depending on which day it was, to the best of my ability, which generally tends to ameliorate people. Obviously, people just want to understand why people are very worried about the library. And I get a lot of comments on the street about it. So
Okay. You have-
No, I just had a question. I mean, as someone who's like just stepping into this.
Yeah.
And not knowing absolutely
Yeah.
everything that is going on behind the scenes, I don't know if there's a way to make it more transparent to people, so.
I think that's a
'Cause-
statement in the event. for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
cause I was like, dang, all that you have managed to do to keep it open, the days it is open is amazing.
Mhm.
So, and yeah, and I think it's really, yeah, it's really just coming out of a place of like, oh, it's really sad to see such a special place closed.
Please tell everyone.
Yeah, oh no.
We're
always talking.
I'm so tired.
There's a newsletter. Is that going out though?
It is scheduled to go out.
Monthly?
Yeah, I
It
haven't
does
seen-
go
yeah,
out
that has been-
monthly.
Should we,
Hasn't
if
been
we can shore up that board statement, would that
I
make
think
it
since,
into there?
It could, maybe not for this month, maybe for next month.
Next one, okay, that's fine. Let's get the tone right and then put that together,
Does
respond to
that have
people.
a good open rate? Can't you tell open rates from that?
You can, I forget what our open rate is. We also do not have as wide of a distribution as I would have thought. So a big thing for me is as part of doing outreach, whenever I can do outreach, will be to get people signed up for the newsletter because we can't, it's not ethical and appropriate for the
Right.
library just to use people's email addresses with their registration to sign them up for it with the library
Sure.
card. So it has to be a separate process.
Can they encourage them when they're getting their card though?
Yeah.
We
Like
just have
mention
to-
it when they're getting it?
Exactly.
Like
Yes.
an opt-in?
And opt-in.
They have to
Yeah.
physically do it. Could we send that to the 12 people we interviewed? As in, like, hey, if you haven't signed up, sign up.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Very
that's a
good.
good idea.
And we did get 12 people's feedback. So from a community feedback perspective, I would just note that it was interesting to see people who were applying for a position who were not informed of things like the fact that we are working on the AC. So, you would think that if you've already gotten to that point, that you've done your homework, which means that there's just not communication on a visible channel to let someone know
Which
that's
is,
happening.
it is just.
I was gonna say, and as you know, as a
Well-
professional who works on websites, our website is a disaster.
Yeah.
And that's primarily where people look for information. So it's like, it's a priority for me. Again, when we figure out policies, internal communication, external communication, a big part of that is, and again, many peer libraries, right? Like Albany have a dedicated communications department, like who's working on, the website and things like that. And those were, one of the many hats that Joy wore around here that, has fallen to the wayside. So I enjoy it, but again, I don't have the ability right now.
Yeah.
So.
And
Yep.
not expecting it, just
No,
to
no, no,
say,
Of course.
this is our list for the business manager,
Yeah,
whatever.
I do have a list.
good, please. I would encourage everyone to have a list.
So that only community feedback that I had, I think I might have shared earlier, but I should share it here, is just around that range of, the question around that range of salary for the administrative assistant. And so it would make sense for me to go back to and say that that's a civil service range.
From.
A civil- And the other thing that's unusual is that it's a 15-step range. I have
Right.
never worked with a 15-step range
Okay.
before.
So they designated that this isn't a library and this isn't you, just so I can be
It
very
was
clear. when I
definitely
communicate
not
with them.
me. It could have been the previous director. It could have been civil service. Again, I'm not sure how that mechanism worked. Again, truthfully, I think it may have been an internal step progression, because I'm not sure.
Oh. I always, so far as yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any insight, Carolyn,
I don't
but
have an answer. for
you
that.
know,
I guess the concern would be that range is so large.
Right.
That you're gonna get.
It-
I guess I don't know, but it might be kind of funky, like
Well,
something different,
and-
like
and
qualifications.
I
Or you
think
might get
to that point, and again, knowing the historical context was that people were paid so low, the idea was that over time, if you were there for 15
Right.
years, you'd be at the higher end of a salary range. So again, typically, they would literally just chop off the first 5 of those, right? So then you have a 10-step thing, and then you're coming in at a higher salary is probably how administratively other libraries would perform that, right? So
Okay,
I think that accounts for some of the discrepancy in the pay range.
thanks.
But again, it's just speculation.
That's it.
I don't know, I feel like I've been living under a rock. I don't even. I got that.
That's all good.
Okay.
All right, date and time of next meeting, it's gonna be May. It's gonna be the 13th of May. I'm hoping it's not snowing that day.
Yeah.
Not confident. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Thank you.